Okay, now we're going to talk about using coils on slab forms. Soshi over here has a flat slab and he's going to build right on it. Well, Samuel over here is working in more of a Native American style where he's got a slab that's been pressed into a bowl in a mold. And the natives, use this technique and have used this technique for hundreds of years. So this is one of the oldest forms of building. And what they're going to show you now is how to score and slip with tools you might find in your common kitchen.
Okay, I'll start off again.
So right now he's scoring on top, and this is very important, that he's scoring on top of the slab, not on the side of the slab.
A little bit of water.
Now, slip is always excellent to use, but a lot of you at home haven't made slip. If you don't, by adding water, it sort of makes slip. Another thing that can be used is vinegar. Your family may not like the smell, but it works great as an acid. So we have Samuel over here starting to score. So when you attach a coil, you always want to score, ideally both sides, and get a little slip in between. If you find that your clay is wet, and you can see Soshi here, you could either join it together or you could do a multiple overlap.
I'm pushing down on the sides and using compression.
Now, do you prefer one slab at a time, or do you like to lay multiple slabs?
Usually when I go fast, I do multiple slabs at a time or multiple coils. I'm just doing the foundation so it's easy to see what's happening. I could press the, more like a very, generally like a 45 angle pressure to push from the middle of the coil and smooth it and press it up against the slab. On the outside, I might take like a rib tool if I have one, or again a credit card, and then, well, this is too sticky right now. So
Now, I noticed you laid the coil on top of the piece as opposed to on the side of it. Was there a reason for that?
It's stronger. Always gravity helps, or you want to have it work in your advantage. So if I were to lay a coil on the side, I'm connecting on the side and they can break apart. But even if I don't really stick it on too well on top, the gravity is always pushing down, so it sticks better. It's less risky of it pulling apart. You still need pressure though to compress.
Now, let's go to over here with Samuel. Now, I noticed as we're videotaping both of you guys, we'll look at how he lays down the coil. I noticed you just don't lay down a coil, that you put it down a little bit at a time and then we're blending in. And I even saw you did a little twist rotate.
Yeah.
Why don't we find out a little bit about your technique?
So I like to work with the clay as well as possible to avoid as much slipping and scoring as I can. And I could get away with that because of the consistency of the moisture level in both the clay body I'm attaching it to and the coil that we have rolled out right here. And so if it's really plastic and wet, then you should be able to just kind of very just firmly but gently compress two pieces of clay together like that, and they'd be able to hold their shape, and be able to be bonded together. And so what I do is at every stage of this, I focus on compression. So I tend to lay my fingers, at a kind of rigid shape behind the place I'm going to start joining the coils together. And when I make this kind of twist down there, I'm actually compressing, all the clay particles and, together, and not only in its own body right here, within the coil, but then with the rim that I had previously laid down. So everything is about twisting and kneading into itself, that once they meet, they're going to want to hold their shape, you know? And we get away with that, again, because of, you know, the consistency and the moisture content. It's really plastic, and that I have at all different aspects of this, you know, emphasized compression, you know, and you could see that there's, you know, kind of consistency in the rhythm that happens, you know, how the coil lays down. So I don't need to make a coil that actually extends the whole, you know, length of the piece, so long as every time I join that next coil, it picks up from where I left off. I make sure to compress well enough again.
Now, are you putting the coils on the top, on the outside, or on the inside?
So right now, I'm actually laying the coils into my hand, is what I would say more than anything. So what I mean is, to that question, if we were slipping and scoring coils, we would think, okay, if we want this piece to flare outside, we don't lay it squarely on top, we actually lay it, you know, just off to the side at that angle. If we wanted to build straight up, we put it straight on top. If we wanted to make the piece come in, we hold the cone in. But for me, what's the most important thing is the direction that I hold my hand. So if I want the piece to keep going straight up, then I'm going to compress the coil into that rigid shape. If I want it to flare out, I press it into that shape right there. If I want it to come in, I press it right there. So that is the most important thing to me whenever I'm actually doing this, is to make sure that whatever form I'm holding on the outside, I'm actually mimicking, you know, that shape.
Now, it seems like you're doing a lot of the compression on the inside. Are you leaving the outside alone?
Actually, that was just something I was going to build up at least a couple coils worth of height before I start to go over that. And so, and also I kind of wanted the texture to be exposed, you know, for some of the process right here.
Great. Well, you're building your coils. We're going to go see what Soshi's doing over here with his piece. Now, I noticed, Soshi, on your piece, you stacked at least, what are we looking at? 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 coils at a time.
So the speed that you can build up is relative to how dry your clay is, and or how firm it is. So if it's very soft, you have to slow down, and also that depends on, basically your clay has to hold its shape up, and if it's soft, then it might start to sag, which means it might start to slump like that as you are building. And that is relative to maybe also how thin your coils are when you're building. I'm building pretty thick. It's about I mean, it's not too thick. This is about a regular coil size for like a project-based coil piece, but it's about 1/4 inch thick or so. So I can build faster, and these coils have been laying for a while. So it's a little firmer, and I can go faster in my building.